Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Hello again, hockey fans. Are you ready to brave the wild? With me, your host, Paladino Joey. Brave the Wild is available on the sportstuff.com, iTunes, Stitcher, and Double Twist. It is a pleasure to be back on board to talk hockey with you once again today. It's been about 2.5 weeks, 16 days, so not that long since the season preview. Hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't listened to it yet, please backtrack and listen to that after this one, if you could. It would be greatly appreciated. It's the regular season. We've got 2 games to review. First and foremost, we'll talk about a couple of the transactions that took place since the last episode. Ryan Carter did not make the team after all. He has shoulder issues, and it's kind of up in the air for him now. So he was released from the tryout, unfortunately. But the Wild did claim Timo Pulkkinen off of waivers, and he's kind of a speedster and such. Well, he's not that fast, but he's got scoring skills and such. A lot of people see him as one of those Detroit Red Wing players that just a skill player who tends to show up. You know, one of those guys that was taken in the mid to later rounds that ends up being something in this league. The Detroit Red Wings tried to send him down, but obviously you had to put him on waivers. You had to clear waivers to get to the minor league AHL affiliate of the Detroit Red Wings. And the Wild were able to pluck him. So, very cool. Timo Pulkkinen, who is 24 years old at this stage. He'll be turning 25 at the beginning of the year, January 2nd. 4th round pick, 111th overall in 2010. So, the same draft as Mikhail Granlund and others out there. Tarasenko, dare I say. That's a name we're going to be bringing up very shortly. Pulkkinen so far in his career, nothing special. He's been more of a fourth-line player, kind of a skilled fourth-line guy, certainly not a physical player. He's 5'11". He's not as fast as people would like to believe, I suppose. That's one of the talkers out there. But he does have a scoring ability. He has a knack to score, and he's been fantastic in the AHL level. He scored 34 goals and 30 goals the year before with their affiliate over there. 64 goals the past 2 years in the AHL. In the NHL, in 2013-14, he finally debuted, played only 3 games, no goals in that situation. The next year, 31 games, 8 points, 5 goals, 3 assists. The next year, that being just last year, in 36 games, 6 goals, 6 assists for, of course, 12 points. Was a plus-minus of 2. He was a plus-minus of +5 the year before. So, not bad. I mean, a small sample size, but not the worst thing you ever saw. Kind of imagine this as a regular season here. 72 games, 11 goals, 9 assists, 20 points. Well, it's not that bad. I think he's an NHL caliber player. I've liked what I've seen out of him so far. Again, nothing spectacular. He has a quickness to him. He's not fast, but he's quick, if that makes sense. He's very skilled with the stick and such. Yet at the same time, I certainly wouldn't call him a top 6 player yet at this stage, but hopefully he can continue to develop. He is 24 years old, though, so he's not exactly like a 19-year-old. He is what he is. He'll be a bottom 6 forward for the Wild, most likely this season, unless somebody else emerges, like Eriksson Ek, who unfortunately was sent down to the AHL. It looked like he was going to make the team, but ultimately sent down due to salary cap and visa issues, the whole citizenship stuff going on. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. So he's down in Iowa, despite the fact, it's one of those deals where he can play, 9 games, and if he gets to a 10th game, it'll be it'll count as his first year of eligibility with the Wild. So unfortunately, you'd lose one of the years of his rights if you do that, if you keep him on too long. I mean, the Wild did that with Dumba a few years ago, and, well, he's here, so it doesn't really matter. We're not losing him at this stage, so that's good. So we'll see what happens with Pulkkinen, with Eriksson Ek down in Iowa. That's going to be interesting to watch. Maybe he'll come back up to the NHL. So far, the fourth line has been Zach Dalp. That's who's been the guy who's made the team, I guess, kind of by default. He was sent down, and they were keeping Eriksson Ek to be the center of the fourth line. But unfortunately, the whole issue took place with the citizenship and the salary cap, because Eriksson Ek's salary is significantly higher than Zach Dalp at this stage. So there you go. Fourth line of Zucker is on the fourth line right now because Boudreau is trying to really see what he can do out there, basically trying to test him and such, trying to make him earn it, that type of deal. Zucker, Pulkkinen, and, of course, Zach Dalp on that fourth line. Eventually, you may see Alex Tuch. You may see Eriksson Ek. Eriksson Ek probably most likely will be limited because they may send him just back over to Europe. So it's one of those deals with that. We'll just going to have to let that continue to develop. So here we go. The Wild head to St. Louis to start things off. Scott Trade Center. Good old Scott Trade Center. Oh, I love trading stocks. And I do, but I'm an E-Trade guy, unfortunately. I tried to get in Scott Trade, but it was a little bit more complicated and wound up with E-Trade years ago, and I've been there ever since. Unfortunately, the Wild, they didn't trade stocks too well in this one. Haha, real funny, right? It wasn't funny at all. The first period was so bad. It's just boring and lame. St. Louis was able to score one goal in the period. They might as well have scored more. They outshot the Wild 14-2, and it was about 6 minutes remaining in the first period. The Wild finally got their first shot on goal. Oh, yeah, they shot the puck and everything, but they kept missing. I mean, it was just miss. Nothing was even going on net, and it was so frustrating. Alexander Steen, about midway through, one of the better players, obviously, with the Blues, scoring his first goal of the season. Paul Stastny getting an assist along the way. Already his third assist because the St. Louis Blues played the night before, so the Wild hoped that maybe the St. Louis Blues would be a little bit tired in a back-to-back situation. No such luck. The Blues came out, they came out guns a-blazing, and unfortunately, here's the Wild getting outshot 14-2 in the first period. It didn't look good at all, but luckily the Wild hang in there. Dubnyk made a lot of nice saves, so that was encouraging. But, of course, one of the goals along the way, very disappointing in this case. And that, of course, being from Neil Yakupov, who was quite a distance away, just kind of heading towards the net. I mean, maybe, 25 feet away. Just, getting the puck on net, hoping, see what happens, create a rebound. Just goes right past Dubnyk, or Dubnyk gloves it. It bounces off his glove and past him in there. So there's another Devan Dubnyk surprise. I'm not that down on Dubnyk, but it's goals like that can drive you absolutely insane and can change the whole outcome of games. That put the Blues up 2-1 after Ryan Suter with a pretty nice play, creating a turnover. It was, of course, unassisted for that reason. Nice move, and he beat Jake Allen. Nice play there by Suter, scoring his first goal of the season. So that was the good part. Later on in the third period, you had Pajarevi. I can't even say it right. I do apologize. He's a new one for me. Blues just attacking the net, kind of a 3-on-2 type of situation. The defense not so great. And, well, there it was. For a nice pass from Yakupov. Magnus. I love that name, Magnus. Pajarevi finishes it, and there you go. And that put the Blues up 3-1. That was early in the third period. It was frustrating. It wasn't like the softest goal ever. It was more defense. I mean, there's just nobody on the St. Louis Blues in that situation. Pretty frustrating. Charlie Coyle, though, finishing after a spectacular pass from Jason Zucker. Zach Dalp feeding Zucker. Zucker skating past the line, past the goal line, and then feeds it from behind the net, kind of behind the net, but obviously further away, if you get the idea. Just angled it just right for Charlie Coyle to bury it for his first goal of the season. That was awesome. Nice pass from Zucker. But unfortunately, the Wild could not finish on multiple chances along the way in the third period, and the Wild lose the season opener in St. Louis 3-2. The Wild finally outshoot the Blues in a period, 11-7, as of course they were on the offensive and the Blues on the defensive later in that third period, and Wild just could not finish the job. 0 for 5 on the power play for the Wild, 0 for 3 for the Blues in the power play. So at least the Wild's penalty kill strong with the power play, 0 for 5. So many opportunities. The Wild could not finish the job. That was very frustrating. St. Louis Blues defense pretty strong in this one. It was interesting to see Mike Yeo wearing a blue tie on the other side. Kind of crazy. But there he was. He's the associate head coach of the St. Louis Blues. He'll be taking over next season unless unless Ken Hitchcock changes his mind. No, I don't know. I don't think he can in this situation. But the Blues, 2-0. They beat the Blackhawks and the Wild. Big, strong start for the St. Louis Blues, a team that I thought was going to drop off a little bit this year. Maybe I'm way off. Nice youth movement for them, and they still have some good, strong veterans as well. And Jake Allen, pretty steady in those first 2 games against Minnesota and, of course, the Chicago Blackhawks. So now here come the hated Winnipeg Jets. Oh, man. They're kind of turning into a little bit of a Green Bay Packers thing, though, of course, the history. Very small sample size between the Wild and the Winnipeg Jets. Luckily, the Wild's home opener record is insane. 14-0-2 after this one. The Wild do win 4-3 officially in the game, but it certainly didn't look like it was going to head that direction. Very late in the third period, after a lot of grinded out kind of hockey, the Wild looking way better, I have to say, in the first period of this one. Versus most of the St. Louis game. The Wild kind of looked sluggish most of the St. Louis game. Very much on the offensive in this situation. But then, nothing's finishing. Hutchinson looks like the best goalie ever. It looks like Ken Dryden, as we always like to say, or Grant Fuhrer, Edmonton Oilers era. I mean, God, that team was stacked, wasn't it? Dubnyk gives up what I thought was a little bit of a softie late in the third period against Ehlers, I can't say. Yeah, Ehlers. It was a nice move and everything, nice pass and nice. Actually, no. What am I talking about? It was this was the turnover from Jonas Brodin. It was a nice move for Ehlers, not a pass. It was a nice pass from Brodin. Good pass. Yeah, that's what triggered it. Brodin, obviously the Devin Dubnyk had recently stopped a goal. Or the Jets had put a puck on net or near it, something like that. Brodin trying to feed the puck, doing a cross-ice pass, ill-advised, right in front of the goal, basically. And Ehlers capitalizes, intercepts it, puts a move on Dubnyk, and finishes. So not a good play by Jonas Brodin, who I think is better than that. I mean, he's better than that. That was disappointing. Would have been nice to see Dubnyk stop that, but I don't know. Brodin hung him out to dry. That's all I got to say about that. Brodin, I don't think he's been terrible, but that play could have really hurt the Wild. It set things in motion because the next play, Blake Wheeler, only a minute later scores his second goal of the season from a shot by Dustin Byfuglien. I mean, just put the puck on net. That's all it is. Blake Wheeler deflects it. The former Gopher. Oh boy, Blake Wheeler. It would be nice to have him here, but you can't have every former Gopher, can you? Deflects the pass. And, well, it wasn't even a pass. Deflects the shot, and it goes past Dubnyk. That one, I think, was a little bit on the softer side, but, again, last-second deflection, that type of deal. Blake Wheeler, second goal of the season for him. Only 3 seconds remaining. It's just classic bull crap. You give up a goal with 3 seconds remaining. You think, well, that's about it. But then, what do you think happened? Bruce Boudreau is known for his, he can be a real friendly guy, and he really is a friendly guy, and everybody loves him and everything. But after some bullcrap happening and the players looking defeated, do you remember the famous outburst he had against the Washington Capitals years ago? You've heard it on the 1500s and KFANs. I don't have it on me, and I probably don't need to play it. Most of you have heard it. Maybe I'll pick it up one of these days. But it was basically the same thing where, hey, stop acting like a bunch of crybabies. Don't say you want it, show you want it. Go out there and take it, you SOBs. That type of thing. Stop crying and feeling sorry for yourselves. And that's about what the Wild did. Second period, 3 goals. Boom, boom, boom. And you saw Gordie Howe hat trick. That's a nice one right there from the number 1 star of the game, Chris Stewart. You saw goal, assist, and a fight. a major penalty from Chris Stewart after a big old fight. That was pretty cool. You gotta love it. It was with Chris Thornburn, another one of the role players on the Winnipeg Jets, one of the fourth liners of Winnipeg. Very cool, nice period. Chris Stewart showing a lot of energy. I like what I'm seeing out of Chris Stewart so far. He's been playing on the third line and the second line. You haven't really seen him on the fourth line because, well, Boudreau put Jason Zucker in the position where you might have seen Chris Stewart or actually Yakupov. I keep calling him Yakupov. Pulkkinen. Yakupov and Pulkkinen, man. I would not mind Yakupov on this team right now, but, well, it's Pulkkinen instead. Got to take what you can get, right? Lord have mercy. Chris Stewart, though, nice period. Nice pass from Jared Spurgeon, a decent pass anyway, and Stewart finishing on a pretty good move. There was a question for a second there. They weren't sure if it went in, so nobody really celebrated right away, but clearly the puck went past the line, so there you go. It was just kind of Stewart kind of trying to power the puck through in traffic, and it went through. It was a goal. Chris Stewart's first goal of the season. Just a minute later, Matt Dumba unleashes a powerful shot and goes past Hutchinson, who again looked like a stone wall for the longest time. Beautiful on the power play. It was immediately only 3 seconds into the power play. Chris Stewart out there on the power play. How about that? That's how much Boudreau thinks of Chris Stewart so far. And a guy that only had about 14 points last year to get 2 points right out of the gate here. Pretty cool. Dumba again on the power play. That's good. And there you go. That's a big deal to have that powerful shot on the power play. Suter is obviously one of the most talented defensemen in the NHL, and he's a great passer, but you need that powerful shot on the power play. So to see Matt Dumba out there, it makes you smile, and guess what? It worked. That's the bottom line. It worked. 2 goals right there in a minute, basically. Tie game. Bada bing, bada boom. And then only about 7 minutes later, after a beautiful play from Parise and Charlie Coyle working together with Eric Stahl, put on a nice move past Hutchinson. Just a great pass from Charlie Coyle, who I think is, wow. I mean, you're noticing a step up. I'm glad Parise was able to get a point on that. Parise, several attempts during the game that didn't work, unfortunately. There was a play where it wasn't a good pass. It was from Eric Stahl, and it just went off Parise's skate. Parise could have had a one-on-one with Hutchinson, unfortunately, but it didn't work. That was disappointing. Parise and Stahl, you're seeing some chemistry out of them, and that top line looks awesome. Stahl, Coyle, and, of course, Zach Parise on the left side there. You're seeing chemistry. You're not seeing finishing ability from Parise so far, but, again, it's 2 games in. We'll see what happens. I think Parise's going to really pick it up here very soon, and it's nice to see Eric Stahl finishing on, again, what was a gorgeous pass from Charlie Coyle. There you go, 3-2 Wild. That ended up, the Wild ended up leading the rest of the way, which was great. Jonas Brodin making up for that horrible play. So I can't give him the James Shepard Memorial. I can't give it to him after this because he, again, putting the puck on net and it went past Hutchinson. It just went right past him. That's what you got to do. I mean, sometimes the goalie's not ready for it, or he's screened, or whatever it is. Jonas Brodin unassisted, scoring his first goal of the season, and he only had, 3 last year, so there you go. Hopefully he can get up to the double digits this year. Wouldn't that be great? Would be nice to see Jonas Brodin maybe get 25 points this year, and it could happen with this improved system, and this team with this coach, I think there's a very positive vibe with this team with Bruce Boudreau. When they come out sluggish, he's gonna wake them up in a quick hurry, and you saw the results. This is a game the Wild had to win, and it's not like you go must win the second game of the season. But this is a team you're going to probably compete for at least a wild card position. If you're going to be a division leader, you have to beat Winnipeg at home. This is the kind of game where you often get a split. Like say you go back, you go home and home with Winnipeg. In Winnipeg, in Minnesota, you have to win the home games, and the Wild's home record against Winnipeg has been good. So there you go, and it was great to see. The Winnipeg Jets add a goal very late because again they pulled the goalie. It was 6-on-5, that type of situation. Mark Sheffield finishing on that one, his second goal of the season. He scored in the season opener for them the night before, or a couple nights before, pardon me, and. Bufflin getting his second assist of the game. He was pretty strong throughout the way. He's always a pain in the butt, the former Blackhawk Stanley Cup champion in 2010, veteran, obviously big boy for the Jets, unfortunately. So the Jets making things interesting for a little bit, but Dubnyk stopping most of the stuff coming his way. So thank you very much for that. Only 17 shots on goal for the Jets, though. Just a way better game for the Wild. 31 shots on goal. overall. Face-offs dominated by the Wild, 55-44. Gotta love that, 44%. You get the idea. The Wild, 7 more hits than the Jets, and 5 more blocks also. So very good overall performance by the Minnesota Wild in a game that, boy, it could have been a disaster. I mean, you do not want to have like a 4-1 loss to the Winnipeg Jets at home in the home opener, and a team that, again, you're going to play several times this year, and they are a team that is very dangerous, a team that you're afraid of if you're going to make the postseason. You hope the Wild won't be fighting for a wild card and that they'll actually be a division leader. But, I mean, after games like St. Louis, they may very much be in the wild card situation if that continues. So you have to beat Winnipeg at home. You have to beat Winnipeg at home, without a doubt. So, and the Wild got the job done. Let's pass out the awards for the week. It's nice to get the first 2 games under our belt here on Brave the Wild. It's good because I don't want to just sit here for another week and then you got 5-6 games or such to talk about. It gets to be kind of tiring and it's not as fresh, and I think the quality of the show is weaker. So that's just how it is. The Mike McDonnell Award, the player of these 2 games, the week, I'm going to give it to 2 people, Chris Stewart and Charlie Coyle. Absolutely strong. This is definitely the first one for Chris Stewart. He's off to a nice start here in his second tenure with the Wild, and it's the right coach. And he's wearing a different number, all that. So really happy with Chris Stewart's production so far for the Wild. The Gordie Howe hat trick in the second period, which was so far the best period of the season for the Wild. 12-2 shots on goal. Just dominant performance. Awesome. And Charlie Coyle, strong. I mean, he was strong. He scored a nice goal, beautiful pass from Zucker, but he still had to finish it. And he's been a big positive again, also feeding Stahl on a great pass. So you got to like what Charlie Coyle's bringing. He's going to be one of the best players on the team this year, and he's going to have to be. You got to get 30 goals out of Coyle this year. You just got to. Jared Spurgeon also very strong in the game, as far as I'm concerned. Always love Jared Spurgeon. I mean, he doesn't make mistakes, and he's productive offensively as well. Eric Stahl's looking good so far. We'll just have to wait and see, though. The chemistry not completely where it needs to be. It's going to take time, a couple of weeks probably, between him, Parisi, and Coyle, but it's not bad. It's encouraging, and that's how I stand with that. James Shepard Memorial, I guess I'm going to give it to Dubnyk. It's a soft one, but then again, he gets the soft goals that he gives up on occasion that can put the Wild in a tough position. That Yakupov one pissed me off. Brodin gets an honorable mention because of that horrible turnover, but luckily, again, he made up for it with a goal, so he's not going to get it. It's like you have to give it to one guy. It's gonna be Dubnyk. The soft goals given up. That Ehlers goal wasn't the best. It's like you would have hoped he'd be ready for it, but again, Brodin was more at fault than Dubnyk in that one. It was the second goal that bugged me, the Blake Wheeler one. So there you go. I mean, you only had 3 more seconds to go. Just please keep it out of the net. I know it's easier said than done, sitting behind a microphone versus having, having players like Bufflin and Wheeler coming at you, but I don't know. I mean, I have to give it to him. I have to give it to somebody. So there it is. We will take a quick break, and then we'll be back for the previews for next week and, of course, fan interaction on Facebook. Here on Brave the Wild, we are going to preview a couple games here. It might have to be 4, I guess, just in case, so because it goes up into Sunday, believe it or not. So Tuesday, October the 18th, the Wild host the Los Angeles Kings. Well, the Kings are not off to the best start, and that's fine with me, right? It's probably fine with the most of you, too, out there. They're 0-2 to start the season. Both losses, of course. Jonathan Quick was injured in the first game, like lower body injury, so that's kind of up in the air. Anze Kopitar leading the way in scoring at this stage. Obviously, it's very new. Braden McNabb is one of the goal scorers so far for the club. Jeff Zatkoff, I guess, is going to be the goalie for the moment, and he's not off to a good start either. He ended up actually finishing the season opener against the Sharks. He was taken in the third round way back in 2006. has not had the best career, kind of a career backup in and out of the minors and such. It actually took him forever to get to the NHL, much to his chagrin. I'm sure it took him about 6-7 years to get to the pros. He was decent in his first couple of years with Pittsburgh and then with LA so far. Obviously, not off to a great start this season. I like the Wild's chances against the Kings, particularly at home. The Wild usually play well against them, so I'm going to go with a 3-2 win for the Wild in regulation. I think the Wild should be able to beat the Kings. It may be a tough season for them. Yeah, I think their ship may have sailed, to be honest with you. To be fair, I think the Wild will win 3-2. I expect to see most likely guy to score. I'll go with Charlie Coyle. I might as well go with that one. It's like a safe state, like I always like to say, the most likely guy to score a goal. So I think regulation win. You might see Darcy Kemper get his first debut. That's one other note that I might go with when it comes to the Los Angeles Kings and the Wild. So we'll see. It'll be it should be a fun game on Tuesday night. So then you head to Thursday. The Wild host the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have one of the phenoms of the league. He scored 4 goals in his first game, of course, +3 on this season. I like the Maple Leafs so far. They have a future. They won a game and they lost that one in overtime. Believe it or not, they lost an overtime loss to the an overtime loss in their season opener. Unfortunately for them, and then they beat the Boston Bruins 4-1 in the second game. The season opener with Ottawa, 4 goals by Austin Matthews, the phenom, first overall pick in the draft last spring, and here he is already. This is where you wish the Wild had a really bad season so you could get one of these phenoms, and that's what the Wild have lacked pretty much forever, unfortunately. That's just how it goes. Frederick Anderson, he's not that great either. He's allowing about 3 goals a game so far, but he does have a win. Much stronger against the Boston Bruins than he was against the Ottawa Senators, that's for sure. So we'll see, I guess. I think the Wild can and should beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. It'll be fun to see Austin Matthews. I hear that it's really hard to get tickets for this game because everybody wants to check him out. Should be a very fun, entertaining matchup for the Wild in that one. I think the Wild, though, should be able to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's gonna be dramatic, though. You're gonna see like 4-3, maybe an overtime type of situation where the Wild pull it off against the Toronto Maple Leafs, 4-3. It'll be very interesting. Austin Matthews will probably score at some point in the game. I would not be surprised. Though he did not score against the Boston Bruins. But clearly, Toronto Maple Leafs, an improved team, at least on the offensive side thus far. Then the Wild move on to Saturday. Maybe you have a couple of back-to-backers against New Jersey. You have a back-to-back on the Saturday, Sunday, the weekend against New Jersey and the New York Islanders. So the Wild on the road at this stage. It will be... Corey Schneider is off to a decent start once again with the New Jersey Devils so far. The Devils also made the trade for Tyler Hall, and he hasn't done anything as of yet. I don't know. This has always been a tough matchup for the Wild. Hopefully Zach Parise can score. For the Wild against Toronto, the most likely guy to score a goal for the Wild in that one against Toronto, I'm going to go with Eric Stahl. I'll go with Eric Stahl for that one. I think he'll be the most likely guy to score for the Wild in that case. At least the Wild hope so, right? So we're just going to have to wait and see how that turns out. I don't think the Wild are going to win in New Jersey. I think it's going to be one of those annoying, frustrating games. I think the Wild will lose that one. I'll go with 3-2. Wild lose 3-2. Maybe Tyler Hall will finally score a goal at that point. Larson, who went to Edmonton, he's certainly helping them. Definitely a stay-at-home defenseman for them. I think the Wild can or will not beat the New Jersey Devils, and then the Wild head to Brooklyn to play the New York Islanders. It's Brooklyn now. Oh, goody! They're trying to be like the Brooklyn Nets, I guess. I still love their logo and everything, their history. Classic team. I think they're going to be a playoff club. I don't like their connections. I don't like the Minnesota connections. It's kind of frustrating. You get the Nick Leddy. We always got to bring that up. And, of course, I don't like Kyle Clutterbuck, who actually has a goal already this season, if you can believe that. Andrew Ladd, formerly of the Winnipeg Jets. He's on the Blues, the New York Islanders as well. Decent team, obviously. I think they're a threat in this league. Halak not off to a good start at all, and the Islanders 0 for 2 so far this year. They've lost both of their first 2 games this year. I expect the Islanders to win to win a game or two in between now and then. The Wild's history against the Islanders is kind of all over the place. Halak, again, not off to a good start, allowing 4 goals in his first game. But I suppose, everybody has a bad game. Thomas Greiss, much better in the second game, allowing only 2 goals, but unfortunately still did not deliver a victory for an inconsistent start to the season for the Islanders. But I suppose, again, at the beginning of the season, you're going to have that. I think the Wild will... I want to pick a win in this one. I think the Wild will win the game against the Islanders. I think they'll win it. I'm going to go with a 3-1 type of victory for the Wild. I'm not too impressed with the start of the season for the Islanders, and the Wild have to win one road game. This will be their first road win of the season. They won't beat New Jersey, but they'll beat the Islanders, believe it or not. Probably we'll see Darcy Kemper in one of those 2 games in the back-to-back situations. You might see Kemper against the Los Angeles Kings, even though you probably won't because you have 3 days off between now and then. Hopefully Darcy Kemper, if he will turn in a really good one against the Islanders if he does play that following night. And I expect he will, because another thing that Boudreau does, he rotates the goalies more often. At least historically, he hasn't done it yet, but we'll see. It's only 2 games into the season, so you will see Darcy Kemper play in that at least one of the 4 games coming up, if not 2. It's going to be an interesting week for the Wild. I'm going to pick them to go 3-1, believe it or not. I liked what I saw last night. I liked the fight from this club and the chemistry. So in good faith, I think the Wild will defeat the New York Islanders 3-1 on the road. It'll be kind of a surprising victory. And Darcy Kemper will turn in his a nice strong start. He's actually generally been a pretty good season starter, has been Darcy Kemper, and I think that's what will happen there. Zach Parise will be the most likely guy to score against the New Jersey Devils. Against the New York Islanders, I think the most likely player on the Wild to score a goal in that game will be Jason Zucker. I'm going to go with Zucker. I think he'll score at least his first goal of the season there, maybe his second at that stage. So Jason Zucker will have some type of a breakaway, and he'll finish along the way for that 4th line. Maybe he'll be up in the 2nd line. Who knows what'll happen between now and then, but I'll go with that one so far against the Islanders. I might as well say Nino Niederreiter. Actually, I'm gonna say Nino Niederreiter against his old club. That would be kind of cool to see, and hopefully it happens. Niederreiter so far, not so much action on the offensive side, but at least he's been playing the physical game that he does so far in that sense. Let's check in on the Iowa Wild, if humanly possible. You got some more exciting names now versus the last couple of years. Last couple of years, you just saw pretty much Tyler Graovac and Gustav Olsson, good to keep up with. He has a goal already this year, and it's good to see him healthy. That's really important. Sam Anas has a goal in the first 2 games. Both the Wild and the Wild have 2 games so far. Sam Anas has a goal. That's good. Alex Tuck has assisted along the way. Christoph Berchi has an assist along the way. Plus minus wise, so far the top player is Scott. Yeah, good luck with that one. Starnausen, I guess. Yeah, I think I got it. Zarnausen. That wasn't too bad. That's a cool name. I guess he's from the Czech or something. He's from Czech Republic or something. They're showing Michigan though, but maybe his heritage would be in that sense. Very small sample size so far, but it's nice to see. Zach Mitchell's leading the way again, a goal and assist. Zach Palmquist with 2 assists along the way. But cool to see Sam Anas already have a goal and Olsson. That's encouraging. Those are 2 guys that hopefully will factor in for the Wild along the way. Curtis Gabriel way ahead in the penalty minutes. He's been very physical out there so far. Nick Steeler has had 2 games of action. That's nice to see. Alex Stalock not good in his first game, giving up 3 goals in a loss. And then Steve McCulloch, less than 2 goals, or I guess really 2 goals, but had to go to overtime in that one. And he was able to deliver a victory, save percentage 94 versus Alex Stalock's 87% save percentage. So not a good start. Just his first game, though, for Alex Stalock. Nice goalie duo. I think the Iowa Wild are going to have a way, way better season. I'm very encouraged, actually, when you have the 2 goalies and you have all these nice prospects now along the way. So far, you haven't seen Mario Lucia on the ice. That's interesting. I don't know what's going on there. Tyler Graovac has been in 2 games, no goals so far. but is even so far in the plus minus. So that's good. He hasn't been disappointing in that sense, but though there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about along the way with that one. Actually, Graybach's a -4. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry about that. That's too bad, actually. So Graybach not off to a good start, to be quite honest. He's actually worse on the team in that category. My bad. Wrong column there. It happens sometimes when you have these lists. But, well, you're going to see an improved season, I think, out of the Iowa Wild. Hopefully they make the AHL playoffs. That would be great. We'll see what happens with that. As for interactions, there really hasn't been a whole lot, unfortunately. So hopefully Daniel Allen and others out there, Chance Costa, give him a shout-out as well. Hopefully, post on here again. Mark Carlson, Sebastian Balls. I know you guys are out there. I know you listen to the show. Chris Porter, of course. Post on the page, his Facebook page and Twitter would be greatly appreciated. At Brave the Wild for the Twitter and Facebook.com/Brave the Wild for the Facebook page. To get on the show, your voice on the show, call into it, 209-736-7877, 209-736-7877. It is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Mention you're calling in for Brave the Wild, and I'll be very happy to play it on the air. Would be greatly appreciated. 1 to 2 minutes. Very welcome on the show. Also, there's multiple ways to get on besides that. Maybe you're not from the United States. There's the Call Now button on the Facebook page, which goes directly through Facebook Messenger to the call-in line. So there you go. You can just click on that. Pretty cool stuff. You could probably, you can easily do that on your phone. It's greatly appreciated. Also, another way to get a hold of me is through audio submission. You can use the voice recorder on your smartphone or smart device and treat it the same way as you treat a phone call. Then take the file and send it to paladinolive@yahoo.com, paladinolive@yahoo.com, and again, it'll be played on air and greatly appreciated. I want to thank you all very much for your listenership, your support of this show. Do check out the season preview if you haven't yet. I think it was pretty fun, pretty good start to the season. I analyzed a lot of the young players and the veterans and such. I didn't talk a whole lot about Jason Pominville on that show, I should mention. It's like I just didn't really think about him that much, which is kind of sad because, well, he was a good player before. He had a 30-goal season, then he's down to 18, and then he only had 11 goals last year, and that's thanks to a nice little surge during the Torchetta era before he had a concussion right away as well. Just really frustrating for Jason Pominville. He made a nice move last night. Of course, could not finish on it. That type of thing. You know, Hutchinson was there in position and made the stop. That type of situation. So hopefully, Jason Pominville can regain some of that form. You're still stuck with him for a couple more years. So a buyout's still pretty expensive. But as we're getting closer and closer to the end of that contract, which will be a huge cap relief for this team. We'll just have to wait and see. Though maybe at the end of this season, the Wild will buy him out if he has another disappointing season. It's just it is what it is. We're kind of stuck with him for the time being. Seems like a pretty cool guy. He's got a lot of skill, but I don't know. It's just the production has been dropping in a big way. Hopefully, Bruce Boudreau can get something out of him this year. 15 to 20 goals would be greatly appreciated. Certainly not worth the price of admission at 15 to 20 goals. We're looking for more 25 to 30, but it is what it is. I mean, you're kind of stuck with what you got in this situation. It sucks, but it's reality. Kind of Danny Heatley-ish, but hopefully not quite that bad. We'll just have to wait and see with that. Thanks again, though, for listening to the show. Please tell your friends. It would be really appreciated. Also, if you could rate Brave the Wild on iTunes. It's dying for some positive reviews on there. Not because they're all bad, but because it's been quiet. I could really appreciate some 5-star ratings out there. Those of you, a good number of you listen to this show, so please take, if you can, if you're willing to, please take the time to write a review on iTunes. It doesn't have to be long, and give it a nice 5-star rating would be really appreciated if you do like the show. So thanks again. We'll be back in a week where hopefully the Wild will continue. We'll come back with a 3-1 record for the week. That would be awesome.